72, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years of life. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, got it!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Jenny, hey! Oh, yeah!
He did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under by again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived closer to that time than this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year.
Whoa!
For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see everybody 100 years ain't what it used to be. Before you know it, you're 63, making plans for Medicare A and B. You look around yourself and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be.
Why are you always late?
I'm not. I'm ready. We're rolling.
Huh?
Josh Arnold Investment Consultant brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1569, June 23rd, 2025. 99 degrees, the record high on this day on two occasions, 1922 and 1937. And boy, I remember the 70s were really cool. 44 degrees on the morning of this day in 1972. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
He admires his own wardrobe change on the YouTube intro. Look at that guy.
Look at this guy. He's arrived.
Just think, in 100 years, we have gone from teaching Latin and Greek in high school to teaching remedial English in college. Okay. Say, got a nice note here from Mark Wenho from Cohasset. Joe and the gang, I just wanted to say the live show was great. I was the guy with the 8-year-old. His name is Lucas. Not after the oil, but inspired by it for sure. He's an 8-year veteran of GL and an 8-year veteran of Back to the 50s. Unlike Joe, he made it to the end of the show. You people... I apparently bit into a sandwich too soon.
Too soon. You stopped talking and started to eat before
I said thank you, GLers. And
every break, and even before the show started, you muttered to nobody in particular, I'll pay if somebody goes and orders some food. You were really hungry on Friday. I hadn't
the
eaten. Whole show you talked about it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear anything. Not your guys' fault. I think your crew did a fantastic job. That was 10 pounds of S and a 5-pound sack. My son, who couldn't hear anything, didn't miss a beat when you had your hat on. He said he wears many hats, just not indoors. It was fantastic. Not much more to say other than thank you for doing a live show at one of my favorite places. And thanks to the sponsors and behind-the-scenes people to make it happen. Mark from up north, more specifically Cohasset. You heard right. Thanks to Ben and his fabulous Masters Maple for making us know. And P.S., my cylinder count is north of 75, and I'm 39.
Wow.
That's a very good one. You know, the approximate, no, not even proximate, because that sounds like you're close. A rough estimate of the cylinder index at that Back to the 50s show, if you just considered everything as a 6-cylinder, was 66,000 cylinders. Isn't that something?
That is a lot.
Now, we noted it was a hot weekend, and they have occurred before. To me personally, it was unfortunate that the weekend had to be sullied by so many warnings and admonitions that this heat was dangerous. And in many cases, it certainly could be dangerous. Reavers, you reported a few old-timers.
Yeah, we had a couple people go down to the kids' baseball
tournament. Took a knee
tournament.
at the ball game, huh?
Yeah, well, she was a little hot.
Yeah. And I called John this morning. We were talking about the old newspaper research. I heard on the national news that Boston is in for it. It could hit 95. Boston, there's very much concern that that's just...
They've had heat before, haven't they?
Well, Matt, in fact, their record is 104. That was the 4th of July in 1911. And I called John and said, what do you make of that? What are the papers saying? And you ended up finding out something interesting, that apparently was a heat wave on the East Coast.
Yeah, the entire East Coast. And in fact, it was fairly devastating in terms of death and prostrations, as they're called, people collapsing and going to the hospital. Let me give you these death totals, which will strike you, I'm sure, as weird. 12 in Pittsburgh, 14 in New York and New Jersey, 20 in Philadelphia, 51 deaths in Chicago due to the heat.
So that wasn't just East Coast. It came all the way inland.
It was all the way toward the Midwest.
Those are three cities, Boston, Chicago, and New York, that I would not want to be in during a heat wave.
And a lot of the temps, I know you said 104 in Boston set a record. They registered a 106 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And the paper covered it extensively, the Boston Globe. Front page was full of it. No relief promised, nothing like it in 40 years. Heat kills horse in street,
Wow.
which was weird. There was a picture of a farmer who drove his wagon with his horse and dog onto Lake Quannapoit in Massachusetts just to cool off the horse and the dog. And you
probably
have a picture
saved
of
him.
Yeah, you have a picture of his thing halfway up the wheels
Right.
on his wagon.
Right.
People went swimming everywhere, and in fact, in one spot, that turned awful. 12 people drowned in one spot.
Good
In
Lord.
Massachusetts. It was not a good weekend there on the East Coast, needless to say, July 4th, 1911. So,
Yesterday here, we were warned that records were in danger. They were not eclipsed. The record yesterday around these parts was 98 degrees in 1911. And I believe you found something out about that, too.
Yeah.
June 22nd, the record in this area is 98 degrees in 1911.
yeah, I went to the 23rd. The Minneapolis Journal said we had 1 death and 3 prostrations. A stableman died in a hayloft, it said. That was the 1 death at 12 2nd Street North in Minneapolis, which seems like a weird address for Minneapolis.
Note
today.
the year on that. It was the same year as the Boston, New York, Chicago,
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yep.
What was the address, John?
12 2nd Street North. Does that make sense?
Well, I'll check
That's
it.
what it said in the paper. One rather unfortunate tidbit from here. Robert S. Thomas, a cashier at Minneapolis Office of State Mutual Life Insurance, jumped from the 4th-story window at 311 Nicollet Avenue. The intense heat, according to his friends, had driven him crazy.
I see.
That's what they were saying. And other than that, that's all the mention there. It wasn't a big thing on the front page, just a couple little things. It did say that the thermostat at Vogel's drugstore registered 104 degrees at 4 p.m.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, Hennepin in Washington, that was located.
Yeah.
Other than that, not a lot. There was a note about Duluth. They had to light furnaces overnight. They got down to 47. So
Really?
yeah, and their high for the day after, the 22nd, was supposed to be in the 50s,
Wow.
according to the newspaper.
Well, you had the nation's air conditioner up there on the lake.
Yeah. And that was about all they had about the weather.
Well, so we've learned something. To the best of my knowledge, no records for heat were established around here. And B, fortunately, no one died from the heat that I've heard reported. Yes, John?
May I also mention on the Minneapolis Journal, June 23rd, there was a story on page 18 about Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, and I'm sure this was written before any heat waves,
Right.
had invented what was called an ice stove for hot weather, which essentially, from reading the story, looked like it was the precursor to modern air conditioning. And he had been trying it out. He had a mansion. Obviously, he was rich. And it was working. And in fact, he had his mansion at 65 degrees for over a week's period. So,
That rascal.
so I guess at that point, we're inventing air conditioning, too.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Well, the principal difference then between then and now is then it must have given rise to inventiveness, necessities and mother of invention. You had sharp guys like Bell trying to figure out, what the hell, how do I cool down here? He must have set up a fan behind a bucket of ice cubes. Or
A
something.
block of ice and a
Yeah.
fan is probably where it started and went from there.
And obviously, there must have been people telling each other that, watch out, it's pretty hot out.
She's going to get steamy.
They didn't have TVs. They didn't have radio. They didn't have the internet.
No social media.
No social media. They had nothing. Here, over the weekend, it was a constant hectoring of admonitions. Stay hydrated and watch yourself. And
Operation Stay Cool?
was pretty much Operation Stay Cool. And yet, I think, look at the big difference between 1911 and 2025. Nobody died. Now, I suppose you could credit, well, what I would first credit is just all of the inventions since 1911, principally air conditioning.
Yeah.
Cars have air conditioning, homes have air conditioning, businesses have air conditioning, churches have air conditioning, restaurants have air conditioning. And well, yard sales sometimes have air conditioning. So we're way ahead of the game compared to 1911.
But John mentioned running the furnace at night in Duluth, did you say?
Yeah,
During
Duluth.
the season? I mean, I don't think it's that uncommon. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, a couple of guys had the fireplace and the air conditioning on at a workplace-related retreat.
Yeah. Trying to forget that, Chris, remember?
But strange weather over the weekend, snow in the mountains.
Well, plus if you looked at Grand Marais, it was about 58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very livable.
Yeah. Well, I personally enjoyed the weather. I don't wish harm to come to anyone, but
So-
to me, they were two. I got a note from a kid I used to have who said, my kids caught 2 baseball games today. I hope Child Protection Services doesn't come and find me.
Are they freaking out in our part of the country? Is this the equivalent of people in Texas freaking out when it's going to get down to 32 degrees and snow?
Yes.
It's the same thing. It's
think
just
so.
our location in the United States, because you certainly don't get this in Nevada, Texas, any of the southern states during the summer.
No, but what we're finding is Minnesota has a long, long history of hot weather in the summer. One of the things we treasure about having to live in this godforsaken place is the summers are wonderful. They're just wonderful.
It's fun to give up and go to the lake.
Yeah.
You know, it gets to 90 and you kind of excuse yourself from mowing the lawn or cutting up those deadfall or whatever you have to do and just say, screw it, let's go to the lake.
That's what Edmonton did.
Yeah.
To hell with playing hockey. Let's go to the lake.
Oh, God, it's the end of June. It should have been over in April.
Well, it never will be, Ken, and you'll have to
Well,
get over
let's
that.
go back.
Yeah. Then you're going to have to go back to 6 teams.
Go way back.
Aside from air conditioning, what has changed between now and 2011 in terms of worrying about a hot day?
More people, that's for sure.
Okay, more people, but
You mean locally here?
anywhere in this country, whether it's Boston or Chicago or here,
Mysterians seem to be using this to call things off.
I do think that there's a Mysterian aspect to the constant warning about it. I think the table is being set for the day somewhere in the future. I don't know if it's next year or 10 years from now, but the table is being set for ceasing activities, including you as an American citizen driving your car that day. You're going to have to stay put. It's too dangerous. We're telling you it's too dangerous, and therefore we want you to stay put.
You said right now it's voluntary that we're doing this, but you think there's a day when it's going to be mandatory.
I do. I do. And I suppose there's a number of reasons for it. About a month ago, if not longer, we talked about a theory that a woman had about the feminization of America has changed the way we look at problems. You know, if you go back to the cavemen, you know, Al Gorg, he had to go out and knock a mastodon over the head with a boulder while mom sat in a cave and, you know, played with flowers. So now that theory has been looked at all through time. And for example, I believe I can't remember the writer's name, but what we've seen as a result of what could possibly be called the feminization of America is more frequent school closings for weather that school was never closed for back 50 years ago or 75 years ago, and that can be attributed to that. So what's changed? Well, the mystery's greatest tool, which they still pursue greatly, the mystery's greatest tool to bring about the change in the country, to make it into a country that is not America, is climate, is the environment. That's their greatest. That's still their ace in the hole. They still have that to fall back on because everything else they come up with doesn't work. And I personally don't think this works either. But they're gonna be able to sell it to people if it gets to be 95 degrees. They're going to be able to sell the idea that this is a dire situation. We don't want you moving. We know best, and you better stay put. And if the Mysterian can bring that about, they've put a big dent in your personal freedom. They've pretty much got you by the short hairs, so to speak, in terms of whether you go to work, whether you go to a game or whatever. It's going to change. I don't know when, but I'm unfortunately very confident that that's going to happen.
Who started it? I have a theory. That's why I asked.
Well, I don't know if I have a theory, but I do know that in the mid to late 70s, there was it was either Newsweek or Time, the famous cover photograph of a blue planet. The cold is coming, and that didn't rattle people. It didn't scare people. Red is more frightening. Red is hellish and foreboding, and so they changed it to a red planet. Now, I just saw a map from England showing the same region with the same temperatures in 1994 in a neutral color, white or beige. And the same map being offered to people this year, same area, same temperatures, the map's in red.
It was Newsweek, The Blue Planet, September 4th of 1989.
Was that
89.
recently?
1989. That's what I'm seeing here on.
But that wasn't frightening. Blue is not a frightening color.
See, you're ascribing, is that the word? Kind of fear and loathing and Mysterians trying to take over things. My theory is much more organic, and I believe it started when we changed from having weather people on TV, essentially actors, to meteorologists.
Yeah, that's
Because now, when any kind of weather event is about to happen, meteorologists who are not experts on anything but meteorology tell us, well, traffic is going to be bad tomorrow, or this is going to be bad, or you should watch yourself here, or don't do this. And they're giving us life advice instead of giving us just the weather. And I think, and I'm not saying that's bad or good, I'm just saying I think it organically snowballed from there, and now everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. And we see these early cancellations of events 2 days before the weather event actually occurs.
Yeah, and many factors goes into that. I don't think you're wrong. I also think that that meteorologically, they have somehow come to believe that they're responsible for your health.
Bingo. You nailed it right there.
That
They're not
they,
just giving you the weather.
no, we're going to tell you what you should wear. We're going to tell you how much water you should have.
Yep.
We're going to tell you where to sit in the shade. And it's become overbearing. It becomes somewhat troublesome to listen to that day after day. Now, for all I know, they're taking their directions from news directors who knows this plays well. Bad weather probably sells tickets. So I don't see this changing.
No.
I don't see this changing at all.
Is it harming us? Other than making us soft?
Well, I think making us soft is harmful.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
You heard that audio from a woman. Reavers, you played it. We had audio from a woman at the No Kings protest last week.
Yes.
And she's 74 years old, and all she could say is, "I'm afraid. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid." She's lost her ability to think for herself.
74. Think of everything she's lived through so far. Why are you afraid at 74?
lady, you ought to have it figured out.
I'm just so scared. I'm 74 years old. I worry about everything, and I just am so scared and upset, and I don't understand why people voted for this.
Wow. Think of everything I know she remembers the Kennedy assassination, and then think about everything that's happened after that.
I pray that was a bit. I pray.
I didn't even consider that.
I pray that the news correspondent had a buddy who faked the voice.
When you watch the video, though,
Oh, you saw the woman?
you see the woman.
Oh, for God's sakes, it's real.
I'm usually pretty skeptical.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fake.
Where was it
I believe it was Philadelphia, Ken.
All right.
It wasn't a local one.
No. This was in Philly.
Oh, well, there was America in a capsule right there.
It's funny. I would expect that from anybody maybe under 30 who hasn't seen some of the things the rest of us have.
I wouldn't even go 30. I'd say
Under
I'd
20.
expect that from 12, maybe.
Yeah, I guess if you've lived through 9/11, I mean, that was something.
Sure
we had
was.
to witness that.
Yeah.
I was scared on that day.
But in GL, if it's a warm or a very hot summer day, pretty much GLers know what to do about it. They don't
Instinctively,
need to be told what to wear, for example. And I mean, it's almost as though you mean to tell me that a guy was going to wear a heavy wool suit until he listened to the weather forecast?
At the race on Friday night, I turned to the roommate and said, I wish I didn't have any underwear on right now. And she goes, take them off. So I did.
One of the ads I saw, since you brought up the woolen suit, one of the ads I saw, I think it was in the Boston Globe, it was a suit place advertising light-colored suits
There you go.
for the heat.
There you go.
So you get a light gray suit, not a...
That'll help.
Well,
Not something that would draw the
it
heat.
wasn't that long ago that professional baseball players were still wearing those heavy cotton uniforms.
I have found, Joe, and you may agree or disagree, the best way, speaking of wardrobes, to deal with the heat, cut those sleeves off, baby. Get rid of those right now.
We saw that Friday.
that was...
We unfortunately did see too much Friday.
Well, we've been talking about it, and summer, I guess, can take a toll on your garage door because you're constantly opening and shutting it. With all that heat, opening and closing to keep the hot air and bugs out could be an issue. Have your garage door looked at if it's acting up. Have it looked at by Precision Garage Doors. They serve the entire metro, western Wisconsin. They really have been getting crackerjack reviews from the GLers. And if you need a new door, they have models for every budget. They send out a garage door designer. That consultation is free, of course. And you'll have, just think of that, you improve security, you improve insulation, you improve the looks of the place. They've got you covered. And right now, if you get a new garage door from Precision Door, they're throwing in the motor. That's a value of more than $760. Book online at Precision Door MN, one word, precisiondoormn.com, or call Precision Door, 612-263-6985.
You look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed, and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, Johnny!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny, hey! Oh, yeah!
Did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under buy again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived close to that time than this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year. Oh, little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams.
You should,
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Such, you should bring your CP to Cedar Lake Speedway so she, along with my roommate, could play the game of flaws publicly with us right there.
Oh.
Look at these two.
Look at
Can
them.
you believe it? Look at these two.
Look at them.
Oh, boy. GLers, have you ever witnessed... Now, keep it clean here, but have you ever witnessed an aggressive slide job that then was repaid the next lap with a dirty slide job? You just might if you join us at the big crew, the GL crew, at the Salute to Cylinders at Cedar Lake Speedway. That's coming up on July 12th. It's going to be a fun event. It starts with a very British car show in the afternoon, free, open to the public. But here's the secret. GLers, you get to stick around and enjoy the night's racing for free. That's a $25 savings. Now, keep in mind, Cedar Lake Speedway, a premier facility, one of the best in the country. And what a lovely location. It's hidden right over the border there in Wisconsin among the farms and the Apple River. It's really a nice drive over there. The typical Saturday night show at CLS, about 120 entries. We're talking modified, late models, sprints. But let me tell you something. When these cars, when these late models, these modified sprints, when they spool it up and let it rip, when the green flag flies, you're going to feel it in your bones. We're all going to be there. The fireworks commissioner, he's promised to bring one of his finely crafted British chariots. And if you want to hang out into the evening and watch the races, please do. Town council members, you're going to have your own VIP area in the tailgate area, and turns 3 and 4. The entire program runs from about 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Please join us, Cedar Lake Speedway, noon to whenever on Saturday, July 12th. Oh, meanwhile, the website, cedarlakespeedway.com.
Over the weekend, I saw something on social media, and because it was social media, I spent some time to verify it. And it's just a short film clip of the Ward 7 City Council representative for Minneapolis, a gal named Katie Cashman. And she was, I don't know the event she was attending, but she was promoting. She wants to create a city hotline. A new, I think they're 311 numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
She wants to promote a new 311 number where you can, well, there's no other word for it, where you can snitch on your neighbors if you see them using too much salt.
Wow.
Not on a margarita or food. The presumption, of course, is this means salting an icy step or driveway. And I spent some time looking into this because I found it hard to believe, but it's all true. Katie lives in the Stevens Square, Loring Heights neighborhood. and grew up in Minneapolis, spending her summers swimming in Cedar Lake and serving breakfast at Uptown Diner.
Okay.
She holds a BA in geography from McGill University in Montreal and an MS small c, I don't know what that is, in urban planning and management from Technical University Berlin in Germany. I'm going to take a wild guess. It's neither here nor there, but I would say, and I could be wrong, but I'm suspecting she has come from some means.
Okay.
Is that a good way to put it?
It's District or Ward 7. Which
You got all the rich people.
Yeah.
That's the rich people's ward.
Cedar Isle, Kenwood, Linden Hills, Loring Park.
Remind me, isn't she the one that you had held out hope for?
No.
Oh,
No.
I thought when she was elected.
No.
Okay, I'm confusing her with somebody else. Then I'm sorry.
Following her international studies, Katie worked at the UN in the Urban Legislation Unit of the Human Settlements Program. She helped municipalities around the world build environmental and social infrastructure to improve people's lives.
I just discovered audio of her saying this, if you'd like.
I'd like to hear it.
This is Katie. This is dated June 21st, promoting the city hotline number.
Property managers, and one big focus of mine is creating a new 311 problem nature code so that you can actually tell on your neighbors if you see them oversalting, and then the city will deliver an educational resource to them. So, it's important for the city to take a heavy hand every once in a while because we're entrusted with that responsibility.
Oh, she's openly admitting the city needs to take a heavy hand. Oh, my word.
Let's continue.
Okay.
Katie also founded and led a nonprofit that is advancing climate change education in classrooms globally, including here in our own Minneapolis Public Schools elementary schools. Most recently, Katie worked as a project manager at the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy. Let me gather my thoughts for a moment. As a council member, Katie leads with transparency. Well, you know what? That's not a lie, because that was pretty transparent to say, I know we got to get heavy-handed once in a while, but I want to create a snitch line. She helps connect Ward 7 residents to City Hall and work together for solutions to the pressing daily issues we face in our neighborhoods. In her free time, you can find Katie biking around Lake of the Isles or walking her dog Hazel through the Walker Sculpture Garden. And then she's on various boards and commissions. But I looked something up. Does she have some history with salt? Why salt? Why?
Well, I can help you.
I got it.
Oh,
I got it.
There's another clip, but go ahead. Sorry.
What's the other clip?
Well, she was speaking at the We Are Water exhibit, opening at RSM Plaza in the old Panera downtown. She explained that some of the things the Climate and Infrastructure Committee that she chairs have done to protect water in Minneapolis. This was on the 21st.
Okay.
When she was speaking.
Well, it turns out
We Are Water.
Well, Chris,
here,
wait a minute.
No.
Sodium chloride is bad for the water. It's bad for all of us. I don't think I'm disputing myself personally the fact that too much salt, not good.
Well, her invoking, though, a snitch line presumes that she must know what the proper amount of salt is.
Therein lies
Who's
my
determining
issue.
that?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, to continue with her history of salt, on January 27th, she was very active in announcing Winter Salt Week. This past year, just this year, 2025, January 27 to 31 was Winter Salt Week. It's not a whole week, but that was
Food trucks, the whole deal?
Well, you had an eye on salt. Dilution is not the solution. And they had the Public Works Speak and Policy Solutions panel. What I'm gathering is that she might care more about natural ecosystems than she does people.
Sure.
I don't mean that in a mean-spirited way, but based on just this scant amount of information I have on her, she has no real-world life experience except policy making and natural ecosystems and public infrastructure and all of these things that apparently the voters in the rich people's part of Minneapolis, they think this is fine. Yes, John.
If I may interject here, for at least 2 years, the city of Minneapolis has had a full page dedicated to this online.
Really?
Salt reduction measures in Minneapolis. And in that page, you can click on another link that will take you to a salt mini course.
Oh.
A salt mini course that will take you about a half hour to finish.
You get,
according to
yeah.
this.
You get a diploma? Or?
How can I don't think we can sit here and rip that with conscience, Joe. We're water guys. We love the water.
I am, but how do I suppose the salt course teaches you the amount of salt you should use.
I would think so.
You would know that instinctively.
If they want to do that,
I do.
I am not turning I'm not turning people in. The snitch line is what really has me bent out of shape.
I think I might turn you in.
Snitch lines have become very popular, though, in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm again
started with
snitch
COVID.
Lines.
Yeah,
COVID.
I too am a water person, and I don't want undue harm to come to the water. Okay.
But are you going to peek out your blinds?
But I'm not turning anybody
Get
in.
the stopwatch out and estimate how much the neighbor's throwing down.
Yeah,
maybe run out like Karen. That's enough.
That's too much salt.
I'm turning you in.
And just take them out.
I have a
full
question
speed.
because in Minneapolis, aren't we shoveling everybody's sidewalks and driveways? Isn't the city doing that?
Did we ever come to that? Did we ever? I don't think that's been passed.
Oh, we didn't pass that. Okay, then forget my question.
This is about the place in the conversation where Matthew chimes in to give us the benefits of something he calls grit.
Oh, grit is manna from heaven. Grit is so great because when you're done with it, and this is very
save it for next year.
You save it for next year. You put it in one of the big coconut oil can or 5-gallon buckets, and you got free grit for next year. You can't do that with salt.
Well, go ahead.
Well, there is on that page, Joe, you said it probably tells you how to do it.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing how to apply salt. Apply salt in specific areas. Space each grain of salt about 3 inches apart.
We're down to the grain?
Wait,
No,
what?
no.
Each grain of salt.
John,
It's
I
all
don't
right
believe
here.
that.
I'm on the City of Minneapolis's page for environmental
You
programs.
shake
Salt
it out,
mini
a lot of
course.
grains come out.
I use a coffee cup. And
Then
just
you got to
fling
get
it.
down on your hands and knees
With
and
the ruler.
with a tape measure and
Yeah.
put them all an
like
inch
it's
apart.
pepperoni on a pizza that
Yeah.
you're rearranging before you put it in the oven.
And they also say, and I actually have done this, once your ice melts, sweep the salt up and reuse it, which I actually have done.
I do it just to keep it off my shoes, then I don't track it in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me,
Lay it down, Mayor. Give it to us.
and I'm keeping in mind what we talked about before the show.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying hard. I'm trying.
So, Katie, cuter than a bug's ear, by the way, young woman. She's accomplished a lot if you just go by her resume. But what she's accomplished has nothing to do with living your life in Minneapolis. Now, she might argue, well, of course it does. Well, no, it doesn't. If you're a nuclear family with children in Minneapolis, nothing she's an expert at affects your life. Nothing. She's not there. I think she's just really, really an earth person more than a people person.
In GL, I've been saying this for years. I don't know if I think you agree. We help each other. So let's a scenario. You're a salt guy. You're throwing it down with a pail. Your grit guy, Matthew, next door.
Yep.
Well, what are you going to do, Matthew? You're going to stroll over there, a cup of coffee in your hand. How are you going to approach your salty old neighbor there?
I'm going to be more direct. I'm going to say I noticed that your salt usage has been rather large, and I think we should discuss this a little bit further.
And such.
And so forth.
And offer him some grit. Try this out.
Would you like to try
Would you like
grit?
to try some grit?
Look at this grit. Look at what this does.
Yes.
I'm just looking
Well,
at
that's
them.
for stability, but that's not melting.
I'm looking
And
at
it's
the
not
map.
turning him in and calling a hotline.
Right.
I'm getting on in years.
But I am getting sick of the smoke fires in your backyard,
Yeah.
so knock that off.
I'm getting on in years, but I never thought I'd see the day when an elected official wanted to create a snitch line for salt. I wouldn't have had that in my bingo card.
Well, I was looking at Old Ward 7, the old map.
That's a nice area of town.
No, it's your Dayton's Bluff, Battle Creek. Yes, it is.
No, that's St. Paul. Thank you very much.
I got it right here.
That's St. Paul, Chris.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, she's in Minneapolis.
Well, my point was going to be...
Well, the point now is so diminished. That
whatever
don't know.
ward it is, that's really not the pressing issue of the city.
I think we've been saying that, and I think
John,
you're right.
Yes.
You brought up that there's a lot of snitch lines now. It would be fun to collect a list of the various snitch lines that exist around the country. I know we've got the COVID thing, the mask thing. Now we have the salt thing. What else do we have?
We got there. Apparently, there's a Department of Education line that you can call if you think a school is promoting DEI.
Jesus,
John,
I'm sure
we never got to it, but late last week, John, you had in your news, and I don't know if you reported it, but I know we had the story of the fellow who bicycles around New York, and he turns in the license plate numbers of cars that are idling. And he gets a taste for that. He gets a piece of the action.
And it's a handsome sum.
And he's making six figures a year. What he does is get up in the morning. He spends his day turning in trucks and cabs and cars that for some reason are running. Yeah. They're idling. And that's against the law in New York to idle.
Okay.
Unattended, apparently. And so he turns that in. The fines are... $300-400 or something.
Yeah, $350 to $600.
Yeah, and how does he get paid?
He gets a quarter.
It's a bounty.
If you report them, you get a quarter of that money. So if it's $600, he gets $125 for that.
That's amazing.
That report.
Jeez.
Wow.
No, he gets more than that. He gets. What am I talking about? Bad math on my part. Sorry.
Well, I'm not going to do the math because listeners get very angry.
He gets $150, obviously, for each $600 one.
The fact that even exists is an outrage.
He drives around. I saw the film or the pictures and read the story. I think it was New York Post or somebody's got it. He drives around town and he just turns you in.
It's unreal.
Yeah. He used to be, and maybe you just said this and I missed it, a Wall Street banker.
I did not say that.
He quit that because this is plenty lucrative.
Oh, wow. He's no dummy.
What the hell? Well, anyway, Katie Cashman. To my way of thinking, not representative of the human condition at all, but might be a great gal, and she wins the election, and she'll bring you a nice snitch line.
We've been remarkably polite discussing this. I wonder if she would agree to come on and visit with us. It'd be interesting to get to know her, kind of what's in her brain.
I'll be glad to. Do you think she's ever been in a hardware store? Maybe to buy salt.
Okay, maybe. That's the
or
only...
grit.
Or to point the finger at the salt cellar.
I get all my salt from Fratelloni's. And I'll be damned if I'm going to get down on my hands and knees and separate grains an inch apart.
All I know is I have American salt. My salt does not come from China.
Remember the guy last year who has the euphorian neighbor that he's had to bail out of a lot of jams?
Yeah.
And she came out with the table salt shaker and was dumping it behind her wheels.
The Morton's blue cardboard
Yeah.
salt thing.
When it rains, it pours, huh, lady? Oh, it's a wonderful time to be alive, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah.
Joe, we live in historical times.
We really do. And unfortunately, you also live in a time when you can have a little auto bang up, get a hold of Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys. Insurance companies and adjusters can be tough to deal with no matter how sweet they appear on television commercials. So having someone on your side is important. Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant and his team are there to explain your rights, represent you, help you through a tough time, and that consultation is absolutely free for 6 consecutive years. Mike has been recognized as a super lawyer and has been named among Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers by Minnesota Law and Politics. Bradshaw and Bryant hopes you're never in an accident, but if you are, call Bradshaw and Bryant at 800 770-7008, or go to minnesotapersonalinjury.com for that free case evaluation. Bradshaw and Bryant does not want you to be part of the problem. Do not text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Keep yammering on and on about the big three Seafoam products in the Garage Logic Emergency Survival Kit that we should all have in our daily drivers. I actually used, not to brag, humble brag, right? But I used all three this weekend. The rear passenger door of the truck got a shot of deep creep to calm the squealing. The integrity of the windshield was fully restored just this morning by the magic of Seafoam's Bugs to Be Gone, and I rewarded that Zero Turn for its dedication and performance with a heavy pour of Seafoam engine treatment. It got the prize. That engine treatment, that'll keep your cylinders happy. The deep creep penetrating oil, oh, it's so good. It works on anything and everything, way better than any other product on the market. We're talking lubricating, restoring, loosening rusted parts, displacing moisture. That's why I always keep a can right in the vehicle. As for the Bugs Be Gone, wow. Gone are the days of scrubbing and squeegeeing and then scrubbing again and squeegeeing again and then using words that your family doesn't want you to use in public. Just spray it on, let it sit for a few moments, and then clean the windshield like normal. All those bugs will be gone. It's the GLers Emergency Survival Kit. The big three: Deep Creep, Bugs Be Gone, and the engine treatment additive. Buy all three, give them as a gift. You'll be loved and appreciated for it. Our local company with a global reach, Seafoam.
Here is Mr. John Haidt in his newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. You know, I went through newspapers.com today, and whenever I do that, I always try to find a paragraph that, you know,
of good writing
is written differently, shall we say. This one was a sports one, Dateline New York.
Do we have an author?
No, it was all, there were baseball roundups and there were just paragraphs on each game.
All right.
The New Yorks took Boston into camp yesterday, 7-0, in a game that was interrupted briefly by rain in the fifth inning. Werhap twirled effectively for the locals, while Poppy, who started to pitch for Boston, tasted only one inning. Tasted.
Wow.
That won't be seen today.
No. I don't think it would be understood today.
Yeah.
In news, the city of Bemidji did have some weather over the weekend, officially declared a local emergency after severe storms hit the area. Early morning hours on Saturday caused significant damage to trees, power lines, and property. The declaration from Mayor Jorge Prince, which was also signed by city manager Richard Spixa and city clerk Michelle Miller, said the storms, high winds, and heavy rain were sudden and unforeseen and could not have been anticipated, and it resulted in catastrophic loss of property and the environment. The declaration stays in effect for 72 hours from the time that it was issued. Those storms also moved through North Dakota. 8 tornadoes spotted, at least several very large ones if you saw the video. It even uprooted trees on the North Dakota Capitol grounds. Nurses across Minnesota are holding a strike authorization vote today. While some Twin Cities area nurses have been working without a contract all month, Duluth area nurses will see their contract expire 1 week from today. In all, 15,000 nurses will be voting today on whether a strike will be called or not. And the nurses union says this is not about a staffing issue, but rather a staffing crisis throughout the metro. Right now, we're so understaffed that one nurse can be responsible for 3, 4, and up to 5 complex patients at once, according to Asher Herndon, an RN at United Hospital, a situation she says is not safe. All that said, in a statement from Twin Cities Hospital Group, they say the claim on recruitment and retention is not true. The health group says in the last 3 years, North Memorial's nurse vacancy rate lowered from 9% to 2.8%, while Fairview Health has seen a 36% drop in nurse turnover since the COVID-19 pandemic. State of Minnesota awarded a $12 million grant to the city of Minneapolis last week to help pay for a new outdoor 12,000-seat music amphitheater. It's a big part of a projected $300 million redevelopment of the old Army Corps of Engineers site known as the Upper Harbor Terminal. There will be new housing and businesses as part of the development with a bike and pedestrian trail along the river.
Good.
The 20-acre site will be managed by the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board. City Council member Latricia Vitaw told 5 Eyewitness News the state grant is a huge step in the development process, which began in 2024. Vitaw said it's one of the biggest developments in Northside history. I'm excited about the jobs and what it does for the neighborhoods. The Upper Harbor Terminal redevelopment runs from the Lowry Bridge to just beyond Dowling Avenue. No timeline has been given for an expected completion date.
Okay, hold up.
Yes, sir.
The new concert venue will be managed by the park department.
Parks and Rec, yep.
How long before they yield to letting it be run by the promoters of the various acts, and then the taxpayers aren't getting the money? In other words, what obligation do the taxpayers have of Minneapolis to build an outdoor concert venue if it isn't written in stone somehow that the taxpayers will benefit from that?
Well, plus, aren't there already a number of different outdoor venues?
Football stadiums and baseball stadiums.
Well, what's the one that's next to Target Field? Isn't that an outdoor amphitheater?
We got the Lake Harriet Band Shell. That's a great place on a Friday or Saturday night.
Wait, now don't get ahead of the old mayor.
Okay,
I'm all for outdoor concert venues. I'm just wondering who ultimately is going to make some money off the thing.
I'm guessing that they're going to hire a subcontractor to book the events, a promoter, a locally based promoter that will help them get the acts to them. And of course, that promoter, will be making money, and they should.
So you're saying, Kenny, it would be something similar to like what the Basilica used to do?
Correct.
But the problem is the Basilica stopped doing it because they didn't make any money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3 people taken to the hospital late Saturday night in connection with a shooting incident in the 100 block of Kellogg Boulevard. St. Paul police said officers were called to Kellogg around 11:45 in the evening, where they found what they called a very chaotic scene, finding 2 people who had been shot. A witness to the event, Ofero Ferran, said he heard about 15 to 17 gunshots come from the Kellogg apartments. Estimated he saw 75 people running from the building. Wow. He said, we observed people running out of the garage area, and you start to see people run in bikinis, shorts, and all type of stuff. And that's not normal for teens to come out in that manner. Those 2 injured individuals who were hurt were taken to the hospital, and non-life-threatening injuries. Later, another injured person was brought to the same hospital for a gunshot wound. In total, police said 3 victims were identified as 2 adult men and 1 juvenile male. At this time, no suspect has been arrested. Police say they are still working to identify them, as well as track down any videos that may have been taken at the incident. And 2 people...
I don't understand. That's 100 in Kellogg.
Kellogg Square Apartments.
Okay. Was there a party? Was there a party there?
Sounds like it, yeah.
I can't believe somebody didn't whip out their cell phone when these
Where's the
bikini-clad people are running.
Is there a pool there?
There must be.
Yeah, maybe a pond.
Yeah.
Pond would be good for you.
Natural spring.
2 people injured in Isanti County Saturday afternoon when the motorcycle they were on hit a road buckle and crashed. According to the Minnesota State Patrol, a 2006 Harley-Davidson Cruiser was heading south on Highway 65 when it came to the intersection at Highway 95 near Cambridge about 5:35. There, the motorcycle hit a road buckle, causing the accident. The driver, a 65-year-old man from St. Francis, received non-life-threatening injuries, was taken to Cambridge for treatment. The passenger, a 66-year-old woman from St. Francis, had more serious injuries, was taken to the Hennepin County Medical Center. Her injuries, according to authorities, are considered life-threatening.
Well, two things. One, it almost sounds as though it buckled the instant he was over that particular piece of pavement.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't, how could he not have seen it?
What do your instincts tell you to do if you see a road buckle right in front of you and you've got 1 to 2 seconds before you hit it? What are you doing on that motorcycle?
I'm going as fast as possible.
It's a hard thing for new riders, I should say, to imagine, but giving it throttle.
You got to go as fast as possible.
As long as you're steady throttle or increasing slightly, that will keep your front wheel up in the air. If you shut it down and if you hit that buckle or any kind of obstacle like that slowing down, it's going to throw your back end up and you're going to be ejected immediately. But that only comes with, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles of riding, that instinct.
Wow.
Kellogg Square does have a pool.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank
Quick
you.
break here and hear from Mr. Reavers.
Thank you, John. How are you, Joe? Thank you. I got to hit this right graphic. You know the neat thing about taking your business to North American Banking Company? Every single month they send you a statement and they say, hey, dum-dum, your payment is due. So why don't you walk on in to any one of the 6 Twin Cities
I don't want to hear that
locations.
when I walk in.
What do you mean? Well, no, the letter just kind of lets you know that this is what how your statements are.
But they're not going to do that at this place.
What do you mean?
They're going to be much more civil about
They're
it.
not going to call you dumb.
Oh no, I was just adding that for the for the ad. But that's the neat thing about taking your business to North American Banking Company, and they're really here to help all of you business owners solve problems quickly. And that's because North American Banking Company is locally owned and operated, and that means loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. Things come up, so this helps you business owners solve problems quickly and expand your business with confidence. Because at North American Banking Company, they deal with numbers every single day, but you, your family, and your business are never going to be one of them. And their team of experienced bankers are ready to help you navigate all of the challenges that comes along with owning a business. So your first step can be checking them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Like I mentioned, 6 Twin Cities locations to serve you. It's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. And like I mentioned, they offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been dreaming about. Check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
All right, you know what holiday is just around the corner, and as a assistant to the deputy of the assistant fireworks commissioner, I want to tell you about a brand new place to Garage Logic called Fireworks Forever.
Where?
Right just across the border. They're in Somerset and St. Croix Falls.
Okay.
And it is founded in 81. It's veteran founded. And they don't want you to take a trip to Paul's Prothesis Palace.
No.
They want you to do it safely. So they've got a mission to promote, preserve, and protect the responsible enjoyment of backyard fireworks with good products, stellar service, and a passion for sparkling joy. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you head over there, first of all, when you go to a store and you sit and walk the halls for an hour or two, go to their website before. Find your product that's going to save you a whole bunch of time. It's fireworksforever.com. Again, handpick all their fireworks, no middleman. That means low prices for you. They say more boom for less buck. 2 locations, Somerset and St. Croix Falls. They are huge garage logicians. So go from someone that's friendly, knowledgeable, and they listen to the podcast. No gimmicks, no transparent price. I mean, they're sitting right there. I'm looking at a whole bunch of fireworks, and they got some great deals online right now. Huge selection and variety, over 400 products and stores. And I'll tell you what, here's the phone number if you want to call and you have questions. 715-954-4300. Look at that, just aisle
it's
and
a big
aisle.
store.
It is a big store. And they do want you to do this safely for the 4th of July. They've got coupons for Fireworks Forever coupons available year-round. Fireworks Forever, more booms for less bucks. And tell them that the Rook sent you and you heard it on Garage Logic. Welcome.
Such.
Thanks, Rook.
Huh?
I've heard, I've never asked you directly, that you and I shared the same tactics when we used to go over to Wisconsin to buy the fun fireworks.
Contraband?
On bringing them back in. With me, it was like I was smuggling a spy through the Brandenburg Gate. I had blankets and equipment and tools all piled on top of it.
Okay. I took the youngest kid I used to have one time.
Yeah.
She was about 10.
Ooh, perfect.
We go in the store. I get all the stuff. Come back out, and I start my act. I start looking at the sky.
Yeah.
I start looking around. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Just keep it quiet.
Walk slowly.
Normal.
We're going to be possibly trailed here. So just keep your wits about you." And I look around again. I lift the tailgate, and I put all the stuff back there, and I put a towel over it.
Yeah.
And she got in the car and said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "We have to go home a different way." So wound through Hudson maybe and went down,
went through the loop.
came across at Stillwater, and by this time she's sobbing.
She looks like Kilroy over the window.
She's sobbing. "Well, are we going to go to jail?" I said, "Quiet. There's all kinds of listening devices, and for all I know, they could even be in this car." So I said, "Stop crying. Stop crying. We'll get through this."
Don't tell Mom.
And then I figured I had played it long enough, and I said, "Okay, we're clear now. We're clear. They're gone."
They came
Oh, thank God.
You probably went to Fireworks Forever, I'm sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
See, I was so bad that I was telling myself that. That's how paranoid I was.
Everybody be cool.
Yeah.
In news, some breaking news this hour. Iran launched multiple missiles against an American military base in Qatar this morning in retaliation for the U.S. strike on its nuclear facilities this weekend. Now, the latest says they coordinated the attack on Al Adid Air Base with Qatar. And the Trump administration, because of that, was aware of the threat in advance. The U.S. had good advance warning, according to a source. Iran's Supreme National Security Council released a statement confirming the attack on Qatar, claiming the number of missiles fired was equal to the number of bombs the U.S. used in its strike on Saturday. The base that was targeted, according to the statement, was that facility in Qatar. Nobody was hurt, according to reports. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps had earlier released a statement claiming it had launched the, quote, devastating and powerful missile attack. He said the base is the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force and the largest strategic asset of the U.S., quote, terrorist army in the West region. The Foreign Ministry of Qatar issued a statement saying Qatari air forces thwarted the attack. So what I'm getting out of this is Iran told Qatar, who's an ally of us, and they're trying to mediate between Iran and the U.S. So Qatar told us it's coming.
Yep.
And then Qatar helped to stop the missiles getting that far, right? But Iran then also said in their statement that they would never hurt any of their brothers in Qatar.
Right.
So is this
Iran's
symbolic?
lying.
Is it symbolic or what?
No,
what is
Iran
this?
just lies.
I think Joe's right here.
It's very, very strange.
Where's that old fart, the guy who runs the joint?
Khomeini?
Yeah, where do they got him?
He tucked away.
He's stashed someplace.
How do you suppose President Trump is going to answer this attack?
With dogs, beautiful dogs.
Tremendous.
Think I would not like to be in Iran right now.
There's 40,000 Americans in Iran.
Yeah. Well, let's hope they stay safe.
Before all this happened, Israel had ratcheted up attacks on Iran. That was, as Tehran was still saying, we will retaliate. They launched a fresh attack, Israel that is, on Iran's Fordo nuclear site to obstruct access routes. It also hit targets, including airports and an internal security headquarters run by Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So before all of this happened, Israel had launched some more attacks on those regions in Iran.
I only want one thing, because I can't control any of this. There's nothing I can do about it. I would, and I'm being very serious, I would love a 2-week notice. If the nukes are going to hit, the Dakotas, for example, give me a 2-week heads up.
They're not going to come from Iran.
I know. They come from Russia or China.
Yeah, we're finally dealing with these dumb bullies.
The ex-Russian president, did you see that statement?
Yeah.
Medvedev?
Yeah, well, hey, we can supply Iran with nuclear warheads. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
That's a fun time.
You got that going for us.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks. Just call me.
You'll probably get 2 minutes.
Day of the week that you'd like to be notified?
No, I want Pete Hegseth to call me.
Okay.
What I would
say,
do,
Joe, you got 2 weeks.
If I were you, I would go buy the pack of Luckies right now and a brand new Bic lighter and just keep them on you at all times.
I still have the break glass smoke Lucky's deal that Ingy made years ago. It's right there waiting, and they're really now, those Luckies are really ripe.
Yeah. They're dry. They are dry.
They're dry.
The Supreme Court this morning agreed to hear the appeal of a former Louisiana prison inmate whose dreadlocks were cut off by prison guards in violation of his religious beliefs. The justices will review an appellate ruling that held that the former inmate Damone Lander could not sue prison officials for money damages under a federal law aimed at protecting prisoners' religious rights. Landor is an adherent to the Rastafari religion, even carried a copy of a ruling by the appeals court in another inmate's case holding that cutting dreadlocks violates the Religious Land Use Act and Institutionalized Persons Act. Landor had not cut his hair in nearly 2 decades when he entered Louisiana's prison system in 2020 on a 5-month sentence. At his first 2 stops, officials respected his beliefs, but things changed when he got to the Raymond Laborde Correctional Facility in Cottonport. A prison guard took the copy of the ruling Landor carried and tossed it in the trash. Then the warden ordered guards to cut his dreadlocks. 2 guards restrained him. A 3rd shaved his head. Landor sued after his release, but lower courts dismissed the case. The Supreme Court, though, will hear arguments in the fall. Landor's lawyers argue the court should be guided by its decision in 2021, allowing Muslim men to sue over their inclusion on the FBI's no-fly list under a sister statute, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Now, President Trump's Republican administration filed a brief supporting the inmate's right to sue and urged the Supreme Court to hear the case.
Go back a few paragraphs. You said he went to prison for 5 months. Did you mean 5 years?
Nope, 5 months.
When? When?
2020, a 5-month sentence. He's out now. He's
I see. Oh, this has all been post-prison he's doing this.
Yes.
I got it.
Now he's got a little side gig. He's got a little money in his pocket. So are these lawyers.
Right.
The man who opened fire outside a Michigan church filled with worshipers yesterday before he was struck by a vehicle and then fatally shot by security staff had attended services there a couple of times in the last year, and his mother is a member. The gunman, identified as 31-year-old Brian Browning, did not have any previous contact with local police or any criminal history, but Wayne Police Department said he may have been suffering a mental health crisis. Churchgoers spotted the gunman driving recklessly and then saw him exit his car, wearing a tactical vest and carrying a rifle and a handgun. The man began firing as he approached the church, hitting one person in the leg. A parishioner driving a pickup truck hit the man, and the church security team locked the front doors and exchanged gunfire with the man. At least 2 staff members shot him. One member of the security team was shot in the leg, listed in stable condition after undergoing surgery. No one else was hurt. Wayne is a city of about 17,000 people, about 25 miles west of Detroit. Police executed a search warrant at Browning's house. They found additional rifles, several more handguns, and large amounts of ammunition.
John, what I couldn't find in that story when I was looking at it was whether or not he is a member or parishioner there at that church.
His mom is.
His mom, okay.
And he had attended services there, according.
He had, okay.
Yeah.
You have, okay, thank you.
Yep. Tesla debuted its robo-taxi service yesterday, releasing about 10 driverless Model Y vehicles in parts of Austin, Texas. CEO Elon Musk says the rides will cost a flat share of $4.20, hopes to ramp up to 1,000 vehicles within months. Tesla is not Austin's first robo-taxi. Amazon's Waymo is the industry leader, boasting about 250,000 paid trips across Austin, L.A., Phoenix, and San Francisco. Alphabet's Zoox is available for employees and guests in Las Vegas and San Francisco. As with Waymo and Zoox, Tesla's pilot will have a driver accompany the vehicles. The company will also monitor its robotaxi service remotely. The launch comes as Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill requiring autonomous vehicle operators to acquire a permit. That begins in September.
I'm not on board. I want a driver.
You don't want to?
I don't want to be in a driverless car.
Well, you said a driver accompanies it. Is he in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat reading a book?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't want any part of it. I think it's BS.
I'd get my stumble on and give it a try, but I'd have to be good and lit up.
Yeah.
It's like dancing. Yeah,
well, it's got to happen within my 2-week period before we're nuked out.
I was thinking, Kenny, you're thinking of it like a circus ride. You know, you have a few drinks. If I get killed, I get killed. Let's go on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fred Smith, the FedEx Corp founder who revolutionized the express delivery industry, has died. He was 80 years old. FedEx, if you're wondering, started back in 1973, delivering small parcels and documents more quickly than the Postal Service. Over the next half-century, Smith, a Marine Corps veteran, oversaw the growth of a company that became something of an economic bellwether because so many other companies had to rely on it. Memphis, Tennessee-based FedEx became a global transportation and logistics company that averaged 17 million shipments per day. Smith stepped down as CEO in 2022, but remained chairman. Smith was a 1966 graduate of Yale University. He used a business theory he came up with in college to create a delivery system based on coordinated air cargo flights centered on a main hub. The company also played a major role in the shift by American business and industry to a greater use of time-sensitive deliveries and less dependence on large inventories and warehouses. You're wondering how they came up with the name, perhaps?
I wasn't really.
Well, you weren't? Oh, I always thought it was a cool name.
I was, John. Please tell me.
Thanks, Kenny. He came up with the name Federal Express because it was a really tiny startup, right? Just a small company.
Yeah.
He wanted it to sound big and important, and he thought Federal Express sounded big and important.
It does sound pretty important, John.
Yeah. It does. See, now, wasn't that interesting, Joe?
It is, yeah.
See.
What's the brown one? What are they?
UPS.
What does that stand for?
United
Parcel Service.
That's not much of a name either.
No, sounds.
I would tack worldwide on the end of my business.
Okay.
Rookie worldwide. Sounds good.
It does. Really.
Yeah.
We're sitting in a boardroom.
I'd have World Tour of Finland as mine.
Those guys, they were late arriving at checkpoint number 2 due to a medical thing, but they're back on the road today and running good.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes,
I was going to ask what you were going to call your parcel service.
World Tour of Finland.
Okay, you answered.
Parcel City.
Yep.
Say, I got to tell you about Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about them before. And in case you haven't heard, Sioux Falls, South Dakota is business-friendly with a business-friendly tax environment, no personal or corporate state income taxes. If you're looking to expand your business or start a new business or perhaps move, Sioux Falls is growing and has a large, well-educated workforce. The cost of living is low. It's centrally located. Voted by Empower as the #1 most affordable city and by Forbes as the #1 best small city for business and careers. As the state's largest city with a metro population of almost 300,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs and a high quality of life. They got the food scene, the music scene, the whole deal. There's no state corporate or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve, and they welcome entrepreneurs. Contact SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
That's nice music to come back to. And hopefully it's going to motivate you to go to garagelogic.com, fire off keyword auction, and you can be part of the Twin Cities Savers online summer auction that is on right now. It ends 8 p.m. Thursday the 26th. Garagelogic.com, keyword auction. You can save up to 70% off retail prices. There's so much in here. I can't list everything, but some of the cool stuff: a complete lawn care package, 3-hour indoor golf simulator, Gator Magnetics garage storage system. Remember the Gator guys? Deluxe one-night stay. There's so much. EcoFund's got some stuff on the board here. A Yamaha generator. Wow, a great deal. Current bid $680. It's a value of $1,600. Kenny's Bunker, a 40-foot shipping container. We want to live in there with Kenny?
No.
That thing's going to be right pretty quick. So here's the deal. Visit garagelogic.com and type in keyword auction to view, bid, and win. Click it, bid it, and win it, baby. Why pay full price when you can get it at a savings of up to 70% off? That's math even this knucklehead can do.
You done?
Yeah.
Apparently, I've been pretty well spoken to by the staff, and I made quite a few mistakes at the end of the show Friday, including just forgetting about it altogether and just started eating. We didn't do the scramble. We didn't do this day in history.
We just stopped.
We just stopped.
You did what the four of us do every day.
Yeah.
Around 1:15 or so.
And what we didn't get to was the GLer of the week to win the Masters Maples gift box.
That's right.
So here you go. Today we salute Darian Vitsky of Blaine, Minnesota.
Fantastic.
Darian, you got her, baby. Darian jumped on board and upgraded himself to an annual membership to become eligible. Good job, Darian. Saved yourself $20 a year that way. Plus, you got the SIROP.
Nice.
Along with our warmest personal regards and an extra $20 in your pocket every year, you'll be getting that tasty $50 gift box from Masters Maples to enjoy this summer. If you ever have breakfast for dinner, bring out a little of that Masters Maples.
We had homemade breakfast sandwiches Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Dipped in Masters
Oh,
Maples.
yeah.
I love it.
They were so good.
Tune in each week as we salute one of our town council members as GLer of the week. If you want a chance to be recognized on the show, head to garagelogic.com and sign up for an annual town council membership to be added to the list. Is a big boy out here?
Yes.
All right.
And
Only
so it
because...
begins, and so it begins. 72, he's
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga province, South Africa, from the Traveling Lymans, which I didn't do Friday.
You forgot. Hunger took over.
On this day,
June 23rd.
in 1870, Adolf O. Eberhardt was born in Sweden. You should know who he was. He became Minnesota's 17th governor upon the death of John A. Johnson. This used to be a different state with guys named Eberhardt and John A. Johnson, Elmer Anderson, Anderson Elmer, C. L. Ramosi. So John Johnson died in 1909, and that's when Adolf O. Eberhardt took over, and he was elected in 1910. During his tenure, he signed into law a direct primary bill. He died on December 6, 1944.
There's not a lot of Adolfs anymore either.
John, you're getting out of my head.
No, you kind of want to go wide
all
on that
I'm thinking about is Norm Macdonald's Adolf Hitler joke. That's all I keep thinking. You know who loved Hitler? His dog.
On this day,
June 23rd.
what's this day?
June 23rd.
In 1911, Duluth. Tell Pat to shut up, will you? On this day in 1911, Duluth celebrated its first Svenskarnesdag, the Swedish Midsummer Festival, with a parade, music, and speeches. St. Paul followed suit in 1933 to bring together its own residents of Swedish descent. And don't we still have it every year at Minnehaha Park? Svenska-dag Day.
I'm only 12.5% Swedish.
Do you know what that word translates to?
Of course not.
Nothing is funny.
There is no humor in our culture. On this day,
On June 23rd,
in 1927, Captain Gerhard Fulgero and his 42-foot Viking ship, Leif Erikson, sailed into Duluth, completing a voyage from Norway. The ship was later displayed in a Duluth park.
And how did you arrive to the Zenith City today?
You've got to cut that one out and get a new one.
That's beautiful.
No.
Very.
And
The
now
guy
it's,
was from Norway.
I know.
and now it's
Why
sitting
is
in
it
some
sounding like a
guy's
threat?
yard full of flowers.
Yeah. And finally, on this day,
on June 23rd,
in 1975, the Discoverer, a Danish passenger ship, called at Duluth. No international passenger ships would return to Minnesota for 22 years.
that's something.
Interesting, isn't it? And on this day,
On June 23rd,
in Minnesota sports disappointment history, on this day,
on June 23rd.
1961, the Twins fired Cookie Lavagetto and replaced him with Sam Mealy. Remember that, Pat? Yes. All right, thank you. So, all right, he has got a tidbit
He's
about
already
that.
working on the show.
Coming up on Monday Night Sports, so he's got a
We
tidbit.
call that show prep.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, GLers.
Thank you. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit
And
subscribe.
congratulations to Darian Vitsky.
Yes, Vitsky.
Vitsky?
Where does he hail from?
Blaine.
Not quite sure.
But if you haven't done so yet, join the thousands of subscribers on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. You can also see full segments. There's video shorts. There's behind-the-scenes footage, but it's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube. You can also search Garage Logic on all of our social media platforms, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And sign up for the Daily Logician. That email, it comes right to your inbox each and every single day. And it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Subscribe right now at the website, which is, of course, garagelogic.com.